back to Southern Iowa Luddite. Today is a big day where we're going to take the sunflower oil that I had previously expelled black oil sunflower seeds for birds through this cold press expeller. Then I made a video purifying it with a centrifuge. Then I made a third video showing how I titrated the sunflower oil for free fatty acids so we could calculate the proper amount of catalyst, in this case sodium hydroxide or lye, to make biodiesel by mixing the oil with the catalyst, the lye, the sodium hydroxide, and then with the certain ratio of methanol. Heat it up to 140 degrees Fahrenheit or 60 degrees Celsius for about an hour with stirring. I'm going to do it in this pot here. It's a little bit of a different looking contraption for most home brewers that make biodiesel. This is some equipment I have from my lab operations and stuff. It's going to work really nice. Let's get to it. Glad you're here. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I have really dry sunflower oil. We don't want residual water, any trace residual water, as little residual water as possible in the sunflower oil. I'm going to do that by taking some sodium sulfate. So if you see my Instagram channel, this is the final thing that I centrifuge impure diesel, wet diesel, in this case in the future biodiesel, with this sodium sulfate through a plug in here. And so we'll measure out the amount of sunflower oil I want to use for this batch. We'll run it through this plug of sodium sulfate. We'll have nice dry oil in there. That way we're going to avoid making soap as much as possible in this process. So it's not really too high tech. I'm just going to take a couple of handfuls here. Doesn't take a whole lot. I'm using coffee filters here. And we're just going to pour sunflower oil through this plug now. And to do that, we're going to measure out. I've got a nice half-liter graduate cylinder, so we're going to be pretty accurate here. I'd like to do a weight measurement, but I don't really have the right scales and balances, and most people wouldn't anyway, so I think this is a better representation. But use something that you've got pretty accurate volumetric knowledge about how much you're pouring out. So I'm going to pour the sunflower oil into a transfer beaker, measure this out, keep track, and I want to try to get to an even number of liters as much as possible. Now I could probably use this as a measurement. It'd probably be accurate enough. But again, our goal here is to use the right ratio of catalyst, the sodium hydroxide, with the methanol to avoid either making soap or not having enough catalyst in there to do the transesterfication to the biodiesel properly. So we'll do this quick transfer here and start pouring it down this plug. That took a while. It takes a long time to filter through that sulfate plug, but I've got all my sunflower oil in here. So I have 8 liters of sunflower oil in this stir pot. So I've got the sunflower oil up to 140 degrees Fahrenheit. We've got mixing going on here. I probably didn't point out I've got some heater plates underneath here. You can use turkey fryers, anything that you can heat and control the heat with, a stove, whatever. I've got my 1.6 liters of methanol with 50 grams of sodium hydroxide as the catalyst. I split that kind of equally between these two beakers. I stirred them up, kind of timed it so that this would be fully dissolved, and then I'm going to transfer it into the stir pot right now, and we'll start making biodiesel. I did not have a thermometer long enough to do this, so I'm just taking a grilling thermometer, and it worked just fine. I'll measure my temperature of my solution right now. Cool off a little bit there with adding the methanol. So we'll bump it a little bit of heat here. get back up to 140 degrees Fahrenheit, try to hold that the best we can. Really what we want to avoid is boiling off the methanol. I've got a lot of headspace in here, so this pot is kind of, because it's empty, is working to kind of like keep the methanol from boiling out. And what I'll do is I'll get you a good shot of what it looks like in there stirring. Okay, see you in a few minutes here. Okay, so here's a look at the pot in action. Vapor temperature there is still not up to 60 degrees C, which is good. Turn the temperature down a little bit. This is a transfer hose that on bigger batches I'd hook this up to a pump. I just intermittently kind of tip this back and let that work back in there. But what's going on in here? We're at 140 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's a good look at the mixer. There's a lot of vapor in there now, so the methanol, the catalyst, is working in there, and just a nice gentle stir to make some biodiesel. Okay, so we're at about the 45-minute mark. Everything's looking good. We've been ranging 140 to 145 degrees Fahrenheit. Our vapor temperature is still around 40 degrees Celsius, so we're staying below that 60-degree limit, which is nice on the vapor side. Recently read a research article that suggested that if you add 10 grams of sodium chloride per liter of seed oil while making biodiesel at about this stage, it would improve and quicken the separation of the glycerol layer relative to the biodiesel. So I thought I'd try that. I've got just some coarse sea salt. Recognize it's not 100% sodium chloride, but the idea is we want to get the polarity up to really dry that glycerin to the lower phase, so when I put it in the conical, we can then separate the glycerin fairly adequately and fairly quickly before we start water washing the biodiesel. So I've got 80 grams here because I used 8 liters of sunflower oil, and so I'm going to add that right now. And I guess we'll figure out later if that worked. Okay, so we're about an hour 15 in. The temperature is at about 120 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're going to call this reaction. And now we're going to do something that I think is highly beneficial. I've got a conical here that will allow the glycerin level to separate from the biodiesel. If it's not real good in the shot, here it is right here. And this is the real advantage to having this pot set up where I can drain. So what I should be able to do is just simply take off the lid. Hopefully I've got everything plumbed up at the bottom, and now we're just going to simply try to drain our reaction mixture, primarily now glycerin and biodiesel, into this conical so we can let it separate. This is a 7-gallon conical, so should work okay. The viscosity of this mixture is really low, so that's a good sign. Probably made quite a bit of biodiesel. Get the last few drops here. And that should do it. Give it a quick check. Got a little bit of a salt layer in the bottom of this, so we'll see if any of that addition of that sea salt helped with separating the glycerol. So we'll see if we can get this transferred up now and go from there. Okay, so I'm back. I got the conical moved up to the table here. Really pleased with how this sodium chloride, this salt experiment worked to try to separate the glycerol level or the glycerin level from the biodiesel. So we're about 10 minutes after I poured this reaction off into this conical, washed up the reaction pot, did a little cleanup. As you can clearly see right here, we've got a really super nice separation here between the biodiesel with probably a little methanol in it, and we got the glycerin level with soap, any other impurities, methanol in there also. And yeah, I think I like this salting trick. We could continue to process right now without any problem. We could go right into the water wash, and in fact, it'd be beneficial. This thing feels like it's about 80 degrees still, so that's also helping with the separation because it improves lowers the viscosity of the biodiesel and allows it to separate from the heavier glycerin. So, but I think having said that, I got other things to do, and I'm going to let this sit here for a day or two, get back to it. I'm going to call the video right here, and then the next one will be the full workup from this conical to the final purification through the centrifuge for this biodiesel that I've generated from black oil sunflower seeds for birds all the way to this stage right now. So, as I always say, get it done with what you got. Thanks for watching. See ya.